Hey, what's up? Jamie here, and I wanted to quickly share perspective on negative feedback. So, I just finished a call with a client this morning who I've been working with longer term, and one of the experiences she just had at work was she, quote, received negative feedback, and she was pretty upset about it. And one of the things that we talked about was that there is no such thing as negative feedback. And this is something that everybody in their career has at one point received information or heard something from someone that they look up to, or a boss or a manager or a mentor or someone who said something that they took as negative feedback. So there's a couple things that I want to share with you. Is if you think of it as negative feedback, the negative part is just our perspective. Whether it's good or bad, it's what did we like it or not like it. If we didn't like it, we label it negative. If we like it, we call it positive. And so what's important about feedback is we are injecting our thoughts, our perspective, our emotions onto what someone else was communicating to us. Now, in a relationship, that can be important, and in the business world, sometimes that burns us. And so if I were to use just a personal example, so think of it as a relationship. Let's say you're in an intimate relationship with someone and they tell you something where they earnestly say, like, I really don't like that you do this. Well, we would want to know that, right? In order to improve that relationship going forward. Well, business is nothing more than millions and billions of human relationships adding value to one another. So in the workplace, whatever it is that you do professionally, you're going to be interacting with other people. We cannot take feedback personally. The moment we do that in the workplace, we begin breaking apart and disintegrating the relationships that we need in order to succeed in the workplace. So an example would be, let's say you have a manager and the manager gives you negative feedback that you perceive as negative feedback, when really the manager's giving you information. And if you were to take that as negative feedback, what that does is it builds resentment or anger or frustration or sadness or whatever. And all of a sudden, you're now destroying the relationship that you have with the manager. And sometimes some people take it so personally that all of a sudden it's now awkward to have a relationship with that person. They start avoiding them in the hallway. They start changing the way that they talk to that person. They start acting differently around that person. And it's because of that person, you or whoever that person is, took it as negative. So how we want to think about negative feedback is it's just information. It's giving us more information about how to best proceed going forward. And we should not think of it as positive or negative. It's just information. And so there's three main benefits that we get from feedback. So the first is we actually get information. It's information that we are blind to. It's information that we don't have in our head, and someone else is giving us more info so that we can make more informed decisions, regardless of whether or not we want it or don't want it. And then the second is it allows us to develop ourselves. So personal development, we can improve as professionals when we get other people's perspectives so that we have a better idea, more information about, okay, that was how it was perceived by other people, or I did something wrong and now I can improve it going forward. I can improve myself. But this is the single most important part. Relationship development. RD, relationship development. So when you receive, quote, negative feedback, what it actually is it's an opportunity for you to grow, but also for you to strengthen and improve the relationship with that person. When someone gives you feedback, it means that they actually care. There are, and again, using personal example that everybody can relate to, imagine that you're in a relationship and someone doesn't tell you that how they actually feel. What does that mean? It means they've either given up on the relationship, or they just no longer care, or they just view you as you're not worth it. When two people are fighting intensely, they're at each other's throats. When two people are fighting, it means that they care enough to actually fight about it. You know a relationship is dead when one person has decided, I'm indifferent, and they just stop talking, they shut down. At that point, no matter what, it's dead. It's the exact same thing in the workplace. When you have a manager, or if you have a teammate or a colleague or a leader or someone who's willing to give you the feedback, it means that they actually care about you and they want you to get better. But what's important is they're providing the opportunity for you to extend out and one, receive it, listen to it, acknowledge it, learn from it, And then also reach back out to them and ask for their advice. When you ask for their advice on how to improve it going forward, what it's doing is, one, it's demonstrating that you deeply respect their opinion. You deeply respect them, their minds, their thoughts, their ideas, and their advice. They're going to give you the advice. So the first thing you want to do is learn. I mean, literally listen. Learn and listen. Or listen and learn. I mean, you can kind of flip those. But the first thing we have to do is actually listen to what they say. Don't just, in your mind, just be like, all right, yeah, whatever, I'm going to keep doing what I do. That will further deteriorate the relationship, and you're just going to stay blind to what you're consistently doing wrong. And so we need to learn to listen. Two is we want to thank and seek advice. So we want to ask for their advice on how we can improve going forward. But then the third part is we need to actually implement and prove. And you want to prove to them that you are actually going to take their advice and change. So that will strengthen the relationship that you have with that person. It'll show that you deeply respect them, but at the exact same time, that person will actually start to respect you even more and like you even more because you're receptive to feedback. You obviously trust them because you've asked for their advice, and you listen and implement their advice, and it shows that you're coachable, you're mentorable, and you're going to eventually be a leader. So from now on, whenever you get feedback, whether it's positive or negative, view it as it's just information, and it's always an opportunity for me to improve and strengthen a relationship with whoever it was that actually gave me that advice. Hope this was helpful.